good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. It's 9 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, and I say thank you for joining me for today's edition of Gudday, Grenada. Nice to have you folks on board. Let me tell you what we're going to be talking about today. Today we're going to be taking a look at another concern that has just recently been raised about the Caribbean Court of Justice. I received a note this week from the civil society organizations of Grenada, and they sent me, that little note is captioned, Caribbean Court of Justice must be allowed to hear election petitions. Now, before I go any further, I want to say this. Yes, over the past few days, we've been pumping out a lot of information to you about the Caribbean Court of Justice. And I don't want you to think for 1 minute that we are becoming obsessed with the CCJ. It's just that, one, this is a very important issue for Grenada's present and future. And two, a lot more people are coming forward and raising issues. I'm not going to be able to get every one of those issues in, but I'm trying to get as many of them as possible, okay? So hence the reason you keep hearing about CCJ. But my dear friends, believe me, there's a whole lot more in store. So after we take a look at the CCJ this morning, we are also going to hear the national report, which was sent to us by the GIS last night. Okay? And I want to remind you folks that when you hear the GIS report here on a weekday morning, just be advised that it came in late the night before. So it's not something that they packaged this morning. I want you to be very, very fully aware of that. Okay, so after the GIS report, guess what? Looks like our experiment is going to work this morning. I'm hoping it does. Ray Roberts is going to be with us, as he is every Tuesday morning. But rather than coming and sitting here next to me, we're going to try and do this with his smartphone. And so yeah, you should be able to see and hear him. I did a dry run just a few minutes ago. Worked out perfectly. But you know what these little gadgets are like. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So we're hoping that when it comes to airtime, we will be hearing from Ray via his smartphone. Okay? Now, let's get down to business. The note sent to me by the civil society organizations. Captioned, Caribbean Court of Justice must be allowed to hear election petitions. Here we go. November 6th, 2018 is the date set for the holding of the referendum to amend the Grenada Constitution to replace the Privy Council and, with the Caribbean Court of Justice. Section 37(7) of the current Grenada Constitution does not allow appeals to the Privy Council regarding determination of questions as to the membership of Parliament. It makes clear that no appeal shall lie in such matters beyond the Court of Appeal. It therefore means that any questions concerning the outcome of a general election, or what is otherwise known as election petition, could only be taken to the High Court and then up to the level of the Appeals Court. Section 104, quote, appeals to Her Majesty in Council, unquote, otherwise known as the Privy Council, identifies the matters that can be brought before the Privy Council. Here, Section 104.1 also makes it clear that this provision is subject to Section 37.7 of the Constitution. It therefore emphasizes the point that an election petition cannot be appealed from the Court of Appeal to the Privy Council. I am advancing in the current amendment that in the current amendments to the Grenada Constitution, it is necessary to give citizens of Grenada the right to appeal the outcome of a general election to the High Court, the Appeals Court, and to the Caribbean Court of Justice, if necessary. The bill approved by Parliament, which the people are being called upon to vote on November 6th, excludes the right to appeal matters related to disputes on the outcome of an election or the composition of Parliament to the CCJ. This is a glaring omission. If it is an oversight, then let it be put right before a vote. If it is deliberate, then the question must be asked, why do the politicians want everyone else but them to submit to the CCJ, given that it is we court, fully independent and super efficient? I firmly believe that the CCJ must be given power over all. The membership of Parliament must not be beyond its reach. There is no valid argument why this should not be so. Grenadians must be allowed to challenge the outcome of a general election up to the level of the Caribbean Court of Justice. This can be easily achieved by deleting Section 37.7 of the Constitution and removing all references to its limited effect in the amendment bill. I firmly believe that the bill is unacceptable with this glaring omission. That, Pilgrims, is the text of an email which I received a couple of days ago from CSO Grenada, the Civil Society Organizations of Grenada. Okay? Now, just before I go to my break, a little update for you. Yesterday, I mentioned to you that the Ark piece is still here. I was a little bit puzzled. Well, later on in the day, yesterday being Monday, the GIS sent out its usual notification about today's post-cabinet briefing. And you know that post-cabinet briefings are normally scheduled for 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. I received that notification. And then, later on in the day, I received a subsequent notification from the GIS that the post-cabinet briefing scheduled for this morning at 10 o'clock was being postponed until tomorrow. The reason for that is that the Ark piece is leaving today. Yeah, today for sure. And apparently there is going to be a reception held on board as a farewell, and I imagine to say thank you to the people of the People's Republic of China for the work that they have been doing here over the past few days, rendering much needed health service to the Grenadian people. Certainly appreciated. Hats off to the people of the People's Republic of China. Okay? Having said that, let us now take a little break, and we'll come on back with the National Report.
So babe, Alberto and Beryl come and gone, right? So that means we still have Chris, Debbie, Florence, Michael, Patty, Sarah.
From the looks of it, Tony and Valerie might be coming as well. So we need to pick up some extra hurricane supplies.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply departments and Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's is an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Get discounts when using credit and debit cards.
Grenada Market has now introduced the prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zebrapick, Nutmeg, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GRENADABROADCAST. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
It's good to be early. It's good to be early. Pay your GRENADA bill on time.
Alrighty, folks, it is now 14 minutes after the hour. Of course, that's if you're looking at us live this morning. And right now, I just want to say a quick hello to a good buddy out there in Carriacou. I see him online. Good morning, John. John refers to himself as, I guess, the representative for Carriacou. And he calls Carriacou Parish number 7. Thanks for being there, John. Let's get to the GIS.
Agreement reached on interim measures to facilitate court sittings. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Monday, October 8th, 2018, I am Rakisha St. Louis. The Grenada Bar Association says some progress has been made to facilitate sittings of the High Court in Grenada following discussions between Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Labour Honourable Peter David, the Registrar of the Supreme Court, and a delegation from the Grenada Bar Association. The Bar Association says Prime Minister Mitchell readily agreed to the use of a section of the Parliament building at Mount Welldale as a civil high court. The former parliamentary office at the Botanical Gardens is also to be made available for the use of the courts, provisional measures that were welcomed by the Bar Association. Since May 2018, the Lime Building, housing the court complex for both criminal and civil high courts, has been shut due to environmental concerns. Efforts to rehouse the courts were not concluded in time for the start of the law term on September 15, 2018. This meant a shutdown of both criminal and civil courts for several months, a severe hindrance to the administration of justice and the entire judicial system. The Grenada Bar Association has been advocating for the government to procure a facility to accommodate all high courts as a medium-term measure ahead of the construction of the long-promised permanent Hall of Justice. The Bar Association says it has been cooperating with a ministerial committee to identify temporary accommodations to house at least one civil and criminal court. It added that negotiations are ongoing for the procurement of a building to house all the courts, and it is anticipated, based on commitments given at Friday's meeting, that it will be in place by the end of December 2018. At the request of the Registrar Alana Trum-Barima, the Prime Minister also stated government's commitment to work towards having a permanent Master of the High Court sitting in Grenada, a first for the country. This development is expected to significantly reduce the current backlog of civil cases and is also welcomed by the Grenada Bar Association. Senators say representation of the People Amendment Bill 2018 will fix loopholes in and strengthen the electoral process. The bill was presented to the Upper House on Monday by Leader of Government Business, Senator Simon Steele. The bill addresses the fines and penalties for the use of cellular phones and cameras in the polling booth on election day, the increase of nomination fees for candidates, and the need for more than one assistant supervisor of elections, among others. Leader of Government Business, Senator Simon Steele, says the move will close all the loopholes in the electoral process. He spoke about the timeliness of the bill as Grenada prepares to vote on November 6th on the CCJ bill.
It is clear that the bill before us strengthens our electoral process. There is broad-based consensus on the proposed amendments. It does engender that trust and confidence in the process and is timely with the upcoming referendum.
Senators Judd Cadet and Ron Redhead both agree that the bill is a step in the right direction.
I'm very satisfied of this bill, and not only that, but the fact that we have the support from all stakeholders, all political parties. And I am very much in support of it.
We believe it's a step in the right direction. It would eliminate the question of not having confidence in the electoral system.
The decision to make amendments to the bill was taken after consultations with the Supervisor of Election and other political parties on the representation of the People's Amendment Act 2018. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The house was shaking. Then said the story here, babe. Crack, and the roof had gone.
Man, I was so scared, I nearly wet myself.
Only those who have lived it can truly understand the devastating fury of a hurricane's wind.
The house across the road just get up and roll over.
Hurricane force wind. It's a hazard. Hazards. Take control. Reduce your loss. You can hurricane-proof your home. For example, make your roof more wind-resistant by using screws instead of nails in its construction. Find out more about hurricane force winds and other hazards at your local disaster office.
A message from the National Disaster Management Agency and SEDERA.
Welcome back. More development on the way for Carriacou and Petite Martinique. That's according to Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, who recently addressed the commissioning of the Tyrrell Bay Port Facility. He said for too long, Carriacou has been feeling left out. Dr. Mitchell said land has been set aside in Dumfries for the construction of a new airport, which forms part of government's medium and long-term plans for development.
To create a new airport, and that, of course, has been identified in the Dumfries area, and that will be, of course, it will take a lot more resources. And so the medium-term plan and long-term would be this. The short-term plan would be taking care of the increase in runway space at the airport. What that means, sisters and brothers, further development for our country, further opportunities at all sectors of the society.
The Lauriston Airport runway will also be extended to accommodate more airplanes.
Plans already on foot for extension of the runway in Carriacou. Because as you have an increased port, as you have further development, you would need air transport facility. So small jets should be able to land here. Because investors will come. Many investors would not want to wait for 2 hours to get to Carriacou with a boat. And they may not necessarily like a little plane. I myself not very good at flying them little planes. So I know how they feel. So they want to be able to come with the jets, and therefore we have to create that opportunity and facility.
Dr. Mitchell said with the new port facility, cruise and ferry calls is expected to increase. And finally, transforming lives of 25 young men and women in the parish of St. David is the goal behind an initiative spearheaded by the Ministry of Youth. Fostering Level-Headed Youth, or Project FLY, is a project undertaken by the Ministry of Youth Rehabilitation and Resilience, which is developed to provide opportunity at the community level to young persons. Youth Minister Kate Lewis implored on those present to seek out opportunities amidst the challenges that may lie in one's way.
Fellow young people, you cannot get away from hard work. There is no easy life out there. So whatever you are going through now is basically preparing you for the future. You have to be prepared. Get out of your comfort zones. Make sacrifices to help improve your life and the life of your community and Grenada.
Speaking at the launch, Project Officer within the ministry, Johnny Caliste, provided an overview of the project and stated that both the life skills and direct skills component is aimed at providing opportunity for training and employability based on labor market demands.
The objective of the life skills is to help persons develop a perspective on their life, to look closely at where they are, to do introspection, SWOT analysis, and see where they are as individuals and recognize the opportunities that are available for moving forward. It also will deal with conflict resolution, decision making.
The direct skills component of Project FLY is aimed at providing the participants with theoretical and practical skills, mainly in general hospitality and construction, with emphasis on facility maintenance.
These skills were selected based on the labor market that currently exists. As you know, Grenada is abuzz with numerous hotels being constructed, and there's an appetite for persons who are skilled in general hospitality, waitressing, commercial food preparation, food and beverage, and facilities maintenance, general maintenance. So that is why we decided to do these skills.
That story just ended the national report for today, Monday, October 8th, 2018. Let's recap the top story. Agreement reached on interim measures to facilitate court sittings. On behalf of all those who made this newscast possible, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you. Until next time.
All right, folks. Okay. Tell you what. He is on the line. He is on the line. I'm hearing him, but I'm not seeing him. Ray is there, and we're going to get to him in just a wee bit. First, though, I want to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Bernard Gilbert. Hello there, Bernard. And John, who, our man in parish number 7 in Carriacou, says here on Facebook, and he's referring to an item in that newscast from the GIS just a minute ago. He says here, a new airport next to affordable housing in Dumfries. Well, John, that's what they say. Okay? Pilgrims, I'll tell you what. We are now going to take another little break here, and we'll come on back with Mr. Ray Roberts.
Grenada Market has now introduced the prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmeg, Bobanday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
Well, you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
Well, what foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food Fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at Food Fair.
Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
When I own my own business, I'll make my own rules. Actually, all businesses have to follow rules. But I heard that GRENADA changes rates whenever it wants. Don't just listen to everything you hear. You should do your own research. When world fuel prices go up, you pay more. And when they go down, you pay less. So what about the non-fuel rate? GRENADA must apply to government before changing the non-fuel charge, and it has only increased by 3 cents over the last 22 years. How many things can you say that about? You mean, when rates are high, it's not GRENADA making more money? Now you're getting it. It's really the world fuel prices. GRENADA does not make any additional profit from higher fuel prices, and that's a fact. Think about it, son. There are laws and regulations that govern business. Nobody gets to do as they please. Not your business, and certainly not GRENADA.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Alrighty, folks. Right now, we're going to say good morning to Mr. Ray Roberts, who's somewhere out there in Grand Dance, I would imagine. Good morning, Ray, and how art thou?
Well, I would say to you, it's a wonderful morning. I hope it's just as wonderful as where I am. You are enjoying the same wonderful atmosphere.
I certainly am, and I'll tell you, I am so excited that you finally managed to get on the program using your smartphone. However, let me say that I'm hearing you loud and clear. But Ray, I can't see you, man. What happened? You didn't pay the rent on your camera, or what?
Well, I think I need some schooling still, and that will come. This may be the first step, but I think I'm getting there.
Listen,
the fact that we are communicating via that process
I
means that it's a step in the right direction.
I couldn't agree with you more, my friend. I'm really excited that you're able to get on using the software, same software that we use for We Chat on a Thursday night. And it's just a matter of the camera not turned on. But like you say, we're going to get that bug ironed out. How you doing, friend?
Well, what should I tell you?
You know,
I will tell you. I will tell you this morning that my piece is going to be a familiar theme, and I'm going to talk about the recent parliamentary approval of the changes to the Representation of the People's Act. I think we have seen a positive step, the fact that both houses have made some changes, but sad to say, falling extremely far short of what I think Grenada needs in terms of the Representation of the People's Act. I can't see how the government could have gone to Parliament without mandating the parliamentarians to take into account we had 2 OAS reports as well as 2 CARICOM reports, which gave us specifics. And they were not giving us documentation that they were experimenting with. They were giving to Grenada things that were tested, were tried and tested. And one of them being a photo ID ought to be used as part of the election process. Right now, you can show up and just give your name, and if your name is there, you vote. And your name could be anybody. So the argument was that we should mandate that you turn up with a picture ID. That was not part of the latest approval of the Parliament. And secondly, I would say that we missed the boat by not doing something about the increasing number of people who are getting here via the citizenship by investment. The fact is there should have been something which mandate that people who are here via that process either are residents here, like Commonwealth citizens for 12 months, or 6 months, or what the case may be. I would prefer that they are not entitled to vote whatsoever, because they're really not true Grenadians. Their interest is just economic, and I don't think that's enough for them to be a part of our process. So, George, I would say it's a good step, but in general, the government has fallen short by certainly not introducing the CARICOM as well as the OAS and even the local monitoring committee suggestions and recommendations, and they were from elections of 2013 and 2018.
Okay, did you also hear the piece that I read at the top of the program this morning from CSO? You know that CSO is a little bit concerned that apparently Grenadians, according to the new constitution, will not have the right, if I understand this clearly, and I'm no expert, I'm not a lawyer, but apparently CSO is a little bit concerned that Grenadians are being deprived the right to protest the outcome of elections.
Well, I read that part. I saw the documentation. Andre Lewis, the president of the TUC, is the one I think who presented it to the Parliament, and I endorse it, because you would want a court to give a verdict. I think it serves all the purposes that we ask it. Why shouldn't a protest or petition from the electorate be entertained to one way or the other? I mean, we saw it in the George Bush algo, whether or not we like the decision, but it was dealt with. And I would say to you that, again, we missed the boat. We should have done that in the interest of good governance and fair play. It has left us again with the politicians insulating themselves and power, which is very convenient. So, George, again, I think we are seeing democracy being shortchanged. We are seeing the politicians having their own way. And at the end of it all, that's what makes me worried about whether or not we are ready yet for the Caribbean Court of Justice.
Yeah, you know, you just mentioned something there that I think would resonate with a lot of people. Concerns have been raised in recent times over the last few years about the fact that there seems to be some degradation, if you will, taking place in what we have known as democracy. And it's ruffling a few feathers.
Yes, and I don't know if let's put it this way. I have drawn a conclusion that much of our population is asleep, and it's unfortunate because, you know, we are here, but there's well, let's be optimistic. There are going to be many more generations, so therefore we have a responsibility to ensure what we leave is in their best interest. And unfortunately today, I don't think, well, many of us are that concerned about it. I think we're concerned about our immediate selves, and that's it.
No forward thinking, if you will.
Say that again?
I said no forward thinking. People aren't thinking about the future. It's just, you know, what I can get today.
Well, that may be so, but let's face it, while we may not be here, if we happen to be in the bottom, you know, in the grave or wherever it is, and we get a chance to see what we have done, you know, in hindsight, we wouldn't be able to do anything. We'll be just regretting and saying, if I didn't know. The question is, we have the opportunity to do it right now. And these things we're talking about are not favoring any particular group. It's favoring the mass of us. So, you know, I think the politicians in particular, and to me, I don't know why they're special, because even though I'm sometimes part of that process, I don't know that I have this great faith in politicians, actually. I don't. I think my experience on this earth tells me that the vast majority have been deceivers.
Well, you know, Ray, it's kind of ironic hearing me say this, because although you happen to be my dear friend, I, like a lot of people, have lost a lot of confidence in the political directorate, if you will. And you're hearing a lot more and more about that. And it's not something that's just happening here. Apparently, this thing is happening around the world. People just have very little regard for politicians today. And I think it's because of the performance of politicians. And interestingly, last night, somebody mentioned to me, I had a conversation with somebody who dropped by last night, and she was saying to me, you know, she wouldn't want to have a child who's going to be a part of the next generation, because they are going to have a hell of a time. You share that view?
Well, I think the factors are there to see. I hope that is not the reality, but let's take for one example. We have the National Insurance Scheme, which is something going to benefit the vast majority of the citizens across the Caribbean, because there is this National Insurance Scheme, National Health Insurance, what have you. And the way we go about managing these things, I mean, the experts are telling us, not just in Grenada, I read a piece in Barbados recently, that if we don't do anything, not too far from now, 2022, that's not far from now, we are going to be in trouble. And the population sits back and cheers nonsense and idiotic behavior of the Prime Minister and the Prime Ministers and ministers, and nobody seems to want to be in that debate. Now, compare that to people in the first world. They are at their leaders to fix it or to do something to make it work for at least another 20, 30 years. We here and we in the Caribbean, maybe with the exception of the Barbadians, we just see it as, you know, it's going to take care of itself. And the reality is, it shall not. We are the ones to instigate and to demand that, you know, things like that are treated urgently. And, you know, I've spoken about it several times. The same thing like we talk about again. You know, somebody asked me a couple of days ago, if I give up my private health insurance to the state insurance. I said, well, if they come with a law, we'll certainly have to protest them. Because, again, while I don't trust insurance after Clicquot, I still believe that government management of anything may be far worse.
Yeah.
So again, we need to treat with these things as individuals and as citizens collectively, and ensure that our politicians do the right thing and protect these things. And without our involvement, it's not going to be protected.
Yeah.
You know, remember these fellas after 2 terms, they get a pension and they're gone. There is no law like in other countries holding them responsibility for the past deeds.
Yeah.
They just leave you in the thing and they're gone.
Ray. Like I've said, you know, so many times, not only on this program, but on my Sunday program as well, I've said that, you know, despite the fact that things look the way they do right now, I am sensing a change. I believe that more and more Grenadians, maybe not in masses at this point in time, but they're starting to take a second look and they're starting to ask questions. I mean, if you drive around and you listen to the radio stations, watch the TV stations, and hey, on social media, you're seeing people raise a lot of points. And hopefully that's going to accelerate in the years to come for the good of Grenada. Because something I keep remembering as a child growing up, my mom, I call it a proverb, but there's something she used to say: if you can't hear, you'll feel.
We'll feel.
You've heard that as a little boy too?
Yes, I still hear it, man. And it's a true statement, and we are going to feel the brunt of it.
Yeah.
And the people who are now in charge are no longer will be there. It's our children who will be in charge.
Yeah.
The children will leave, and what injustice we would have done them.
Yeah. My friend, thank you so much, and welcome to the world of smartphones.
And we will see a picture next time, I'm sure. I'm assuring you that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Oh, by the way, did you go to the beach this morning?
No, I had to take my car to service. In fact, I walked back from by Huggins. I wouldn't get it until about 3 o'clock this afternoon, but I missed service last week, so I had to go this week.
You know,
I want to make sure that I'm functioning.
You know, Ray, you just scared me there for a minute when you said you took your car to service. The first thought that came to mind, does Ray have a religious car? His car went to service?
No. Well, for maintenance then. That's a better word. Yeah. That was maintenance.
At least we're gonna part this conversation on a high note, a funny note. Thank you so much, Ray.
Have a good day, George, and your listeners and your viewers.
Take it easy.
Great.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Grenada Market has now introduced the prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmeg, Bobanday, and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Hi, I'm Gloria. My family and I travel all around the world, lighting up homes and businesses just like yours. And lately, we've been hearing a lot of talk about electricity.
Yes. Are my rates the highest in the world?
Your rate is definitely not the highest.
Grenadians are paying a similar rate to some islands in the Caribbean, and in some cases, even less.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Okay, folks, just about time to pull the curtain down on this Tuesday morning. I like to leave you with some uplifting words, and this morning I have chosen a short quotation from the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 28, chapter 28, yeah, okay. The Lord will establish you as his holy people. Isn't that reassuring? As he promised you on oath, if you keep the commands of the Lord your God and walk in obedience to him. Yes, there are conditions. There are. Then all the people on earth will see that you are called by the name of the Lord, and they will fear you. Huh? Can you imagine? The Lord will grant you abundant prosperity and the fruit of your womb, the young of your livestock, and the crops of your ground, in the land he swore to your ancestors to give you. Keep those thoughts close to your heart. There's something to look forward to if you're willing to go along with him. All right? So, my dear friends, thanks, John. Thanks, Bernard, for joining us. We're still having some hassles with the server that hosts our GRENADABROADCAST.com website. But we are delighted that you're still joining us out there on Facebook and on YouTube and on Radio Genre and on TuneIn. So it's only the GRENADABROADCAST.com website that's a little bit problematic, has been for a few days now. But earlier this morning, I was advised that that issue will be resolved today. Keep your fingers crossed, and please put in a good word for us with the Lord your God. On that note, Georgie Porgy is going to hightail it out of here and send you God's blessings. By his grace, we'll see you tomorrow.